You are now listening to the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, the podcast for those who want to advance into the business of immortality through authorship, the Going North podcast. I'm your host, certified self-leadership trainer and author of the best-selling book, Stay the Course, The Elite Performer's 7 Secret Keys to Sustainable Success, Dom Brightman. And you're going to be getting some goodies today from the guest that's up next. And today on the super special awesome podcast known as the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, GMP, the glorious, great, and gorgeous. For Women's History Month, I've got another super special awesome human, and I got to thank the magical M&M. That's right, the magical M&M. No, not the rapper, the candy wrapper, or the chocolate. I'm talking about Mr. Mickey Mickelson, baby, because I got another fabulous human on the show, baby. Another fabulous human who put pen to paper and is now out and about promoting her wonderful work and making magic happen. So let's give it up for this fabulous lady right here, who is a writer, editor, and designer all the way from the great country of Canada. For my folks like to be silly, Canada, the one and only Nicole Haldoupis. How you doing, Nicole?
I'm really good, thanks. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fabulous. It's great chat with you. That's right. Editing magazines, editing wonderful writing, and now you got a magical book of your own, if I'm not mistaken. First full book, right? Or am I just hallucinating? This is like the fifth one, and I did my research in a bad way.
No, you're right. It's my first one.
That's what I'm talking about. The first entry into the business of immortality. So how's it feel?
It's pretty wild. I mean, it feels really cool that it exists in the world now, and it's so pretty and it's really small. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
That's right. Are we talking as wild as the wild thornberries, maybe?
Probably, maybe somewhere.
Oh man. Well, it ain't about thornberries, it's about the natural Nicole. So as with all introductions, I've probably forgot so many things since introductions aren't allowed to be 55 days long and 33 minutes. Do you mind filling in any gaps I missed about you? And tell us a bit about who is the wonderful Nicole.
Sure. I'm a writer. I'm from Toronto, but I've lived for about the last 6 or so years in Saskatoon, and I recently moved to St. John's, Newfoundland. I'm an editor as well, but I've recently taken a step back from pretty much all of the editing I've been doing. I just finished up my time at Grain magazine just a few days ago, actually. It was my last day. And yeah, I also draw. I do digital illustrations. I draw cats, and I've recently learned how to do rug hooking. So that's been fun. Yeah, and my first book came out a couple months ago. It's called Tiny Ruins, and it came out with Radiant Press in Regina.
Oh, meow indeed. That's right. So digital illustration with the wonderful cats. I'm guessing you love cats a lot, don't you?
I do. I quite like them.
Have you ever worked in a library too?
I haven't worked at a library. No, I've worked at a bookstore, but
Okay, I was just curious because for some strange reason, librarians just love cats. And since you love cats and you got this book, I figured I'd ask, like, all right, I want you to work at the library or volunteer to something at least for a day or something.
no, unfortunately, that'd be cool though.
Yeah, that's right. Cooler than 5 cucumbers, maybe. That's right, indeed. So, my goodness, so digital illustration and rug hooking. So, what got you into rug hooking of all things?
I don't know. I think I saw a girl on Instagram who does it, and she makes these really cool, silly like adaptations of signs and stuff. And yeah, it's like I guess sort of a bit of a I don't know. They're not really like it's traditional. Like I guess it's called primitive rug hooking is the style of it, but it's I guess traditionally not like silly signs. So I've been I don't know playing around with some some different ideas. I did a cat one for a friend. Yeah.
Meow, indeed. All right. All righty. I'm about to say a bunch of meows in this episode. I can tell already. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So my goodness, so many interests and fully creative too, and stepping back from the editing. So what made you step back from the editing? Was it the fact that you got your own book out now? You've seen so much work. It's like, you know what? I'm tired of editing. I want to be on the other side. I'm gonna write my own work now and get it out there. Like, what inspired you to go the editing path and now just taking a back seat from it?
Well, I don't know. I think honestly, I just have had so much on my plate the last few years. I think I was kind of overdoing it, and my time at Grain was ending anyway, and yeah, it just sort of happened. And I feel like it just feels like a good time to maybe start focusing a lot more on creative things. So, yeah. Oh, I also recently recorded the audiobook of Tiny Ruins in the closet, which I am currently sitting in.
Oh, well, that's what I'm talking about. It's always great when an author reads their own book, especially a voice like yours. I'm like, yes, all right. I get to listen to some Nicole and go to sleep. That's right. That's right, indeed. There you go, folks. So you get to listen to Nicole by the time this episode is out in more ways than one, folks. Tiny Ruins in audiobook form, too. Ah, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, my goodness, all this wonderful creativity, baby, and getting yourself all the way out there and really just putting your stuff out there. So, looks like you like to do some queer writing. So, what inspired you to go into that land and that genre of writing? Because there's like so many genres out there. What inspired you to pick that one?
Queer writing specifically?
Yeah.
I guess, well, I guess I am queer. But I didn't, I don't know, I guess I spent a lot of my life not really acknowledging it. So I kind of wanted to, I don't know, the character started coming out for me as I was working on the book. It's changed a lot since the beginning, but at some point a character started coming out who was bisexual, I suppose, and I sort of ran with it, and then she ended up being the main character of the book. Yeah, because I feel like I haven't read a whole lot of stories where, you know, someone is someone doesn't really come out until much later because it's just something, I mean, I guess, yeah, it's something that a lot of people struggle with, obviously, but yeah, it took me a long time to do it, so I thought it would be interesting to write about that perspective.
That's right. That's where a random fat guy just walks up to random people and starts shaking them. It's like, come out already, come out.
Oh, it's also in the story is told through it's written in flash fiction pieces, but they're all connected. So, but each piece is like, less than 700 words kind of thing. They're all like really short little stories.
Oh, wow, flash fiction. All right, cool. So I guess it's like
Yeah.
flash dance is like you blink your eyes, boom, you're another part of the story, boom, you're another part of the story, boom, you wake up with peacock feathers on your head.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's kind of like that.
There you go. There you go. So, my goodness. So, do you think it's the low attention spans that we all have these days thanks to technology? What inspired you to take the flash fiction route?
I think that definitely has something to do with it. Yeah. Yeah, definitely short attention spans. I feel like I don't know, maybe it's my own attention span, but I have a hard time writing like longer forms, I find. And I've done a little bit of poetry too, but I mostly gravitate towards prose poetry, which sort of could be sometimes one or the other, because prose poetry really it's very gray, the area between prose poetry and flash fiction sometimes. So, yeah, I just found myself gravitating towards those little stories, and I just have more fun writing them, I think. Yeah, it's very satisfying to just, like fit a whole story in such a tiny amount of space.
Ah, yeah, that's right. All that poetry indeed. So, I'm guessing at like 5 years old, you wrote your first poem, didn't you?
I don't know. I don't think so. Although I just I just was reminded on Facebook of a Facebook status that I wrote 13 years ago. So I was 17 years old at the time in high school, and the status was that I am definitely not a poet, which was interesting to see. Um, but yeah, it was definitely around there, like I guess teenage and like early undergrad. I started getting into it, I think.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's good indeed. Yeah, because those formative years are definitely formative. It's where the growing pains happen, and then, of course, we go through the dark phase where we get to be evil humans, and then we grow up a bit, go to college, or maybe pick up a trade if there's still folks who do that as they should, and they get over the darkness, and then they become a random, regular human being, or heck, maybe even become extraordinary. That's right. That's right. Almost like yourself, because this is the first of many books to come. So, with this first book being of many, what's next for the natural Nicole? Because I know this ain't it. Because once you publish one book, it's like, I got to do it again.
Yeah, I am already thinking about the next one. I haven't really started yet. I tried to do National Novel Writing Month in November, and I did about 2 days of it, and then I gave up. But I started writing a little bit. It's hard to write, every day. But I did write a few different things, and I feel like I got some ideas. So I'm hoping to write a novel. Um, Maybe I'll start more seriously in the new year. Um, yeah, I'm thinking this one will be a bit longer. Tiny Ruins is pretty small.
Well, hey, big things come in small packages. It's kind of like, seeing a person that's, 3 feet tall but has size 14 feet. I mean, big things come in small packages.
Yeah.
Yeah, although it may not be that extreme. That would be kind of extreme. It's like, why are your feet so big? Like, you're trying to kick somebody for making fun of your height. Like, no, what are you doing? Yes, indeed, yes, indeed. But it's a okay though, because the whole National Write Your Own Novel Month, if I think if I'm correct, NaNoWriMo, like it's definitely hard to do, especially if you consider yourself a novice and you don't write that often, especially if you might have tried to write in school and the teacher be like, the heck you doing? And just see blood all over your paper, which is really just red pen all over the place. Like, oh, I'll never become a writer. Oh, you know what? I could self-publish and be an indie author. Yeah, I'm gonna publish my book. Take that, English teacher. And it's like, you know what? Like after I didn't write every day, but I got things done. So what helped you to get this wonderful book done since you're not a writer and able to find your love for poetry and all this wonderful Nicole goodness?
Well, I started the book at I did an MFA in writing at the University of Saskatchewan, and I finished that in 2016. But it's a 2-year program where I guess the end result of the program is that you will have produced a book length project. So I started the program not really knowing what I was going to do, but I realized pretty early on that I wanted to write flash fiction. Um, and then by the end of it, I did have, the book length amount of flash fiction pieces, and it was called Tiny Ruins, but it was very different than what the book is now. It was more of like a jumble of stories. Really, they weren't in chronological order at the time, which I liked at the time. For what the project was, I liked it, but there wasn't really a storyline, and there wasn't. Yeah, I didn't really even know what was happening, but it worked at the time. And then I sort of sat on it and like worked it very slowly away at it for another couple of years. And then just last summer in 2019, I went to a writing retreat um, at Sage Hill, which is at St. Peter's Abbey in Munster, Saskatchewan. And that's sort of really where the book came together. I was in the fiction program, and I worked with a writer named Jacqueline Baker, and a group of other writers who were also working on fiction projects. And yeah, the book really came together there. I feel like I had multiple like epiphanies. You're just like sitting in this like little room at a desk in a monastery for like 10 days, and I just just writing every day, and it was so like it was really intense and like awesome, and I highly recommend writing retreats to everyone who can get there. But yeah, that's where it really came together, I feel like. And then shortly after that, I think a couple months after that, I sent it out after that, and it was accepted by Radiant.
Ah, yeah. That's right, that radiant indeed. That's right, showing off that light. That's right, showing off that light. That's right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And riding retreats, indeed. My goodness, especially pre-COVID nonsense. Like, yeah. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Heck
Yeah,
yes.
I guess it's a little hard now, but one day they'll be back.
That's right. I'll be back in black, maybe. In this case, brown. And green.
There were a lot of trees there.
Ah, some trees. Okay, cool. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Did you hug one of the trees at least?
Um, no, I don't think so.
Oh,
Not
you
that I
hugged
can
one of them
remember.
trees. You took too long to answer. You hugged one of them trees. You hugged one of them trees.
I definitely tried to lure. There's like a lot of like there's chickadees around everywhere, and I spent a lot of time trying to lure them to hang out with me, and they never did, but they were there.
Yeah, that was part of the forest I was in a past life. That's probably
Yeah.
why it didn't happen. Yeah, because I was a tree once. That's a whole
Oh
nother
yeah.
story. So my goodness, so since this is not your first rodeo in terms of being interviewed, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often?
Hmm. I'm not sure. I always get super nervous, honestly. So I don't know.
It's okay to not know. Sometimes you just gotta say yes. Oh man. But hey, it's all good indeed. So my goodness, I got the masters in writing that led to this wonderful project that's now polished and up for sale and even got it in audiobook form, and I imagine that'll be out, I guess, Q1 in 2021.
I think so. Yeah, I think it takes a couple of months, they were saying, for, to get some of the approvals and stuff. So probably. Yeah.
That's right, gonna look forward to it indeed.
Mhm.
So do you think you might do some more voice acting outside of reading your own material?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I have this fancy microphone now. I don't really know what else to do with it. But making the studio in the closet was really interesting. I like have these pillows, around and some clothes.
Oh
It's a
my
it,
gosh, this is
it turned
great.
into be turned into a cozy little space to, spend several days talking to myself and reading my book out loud.
But hey, it's all good. It's actually kind of ironic. It's like you like write this book about coming out, and then you go back into the actual closet to record
Yes.
and write.
Yeah.
It's like, all
It
right,
did
folks,
cross my
I'm
mind a lot.
it's like, all right, I'm coming out. All right, I'm out. Yeah, that's right. Look at me. I'm freaking awesome. Oh wait, I got to record an audiobook. I can't have sound background noise. All right, let me go back in this closet. All right, folks, I'm out though. But I'm going back in the closet though. It's okay. I'm going back in, but I'm still out.
Oh man. Actually, one day we had to delay recording here because it was really foggy and the foghorn was going off, and you can hear that thing like all across the city. So we couldn't record because you could hear it in the closet. So we had to wait till there was no more fog.
Yeah, well, that's horrible. My goodness.
Yeah, but it was a silly reason to not be able to record an audiobook.
That's true for sure. Especially if there's a rooster too, last name Leghorn, where the foghorn goes off. And I say, Nicole, you can't record your audiobook today. But I do say, I say, you gotta still write when you ain't recording with your voice. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, since you got your first book done, is there any advice you give to other aspiring writers to get their books out since you're able to publish your work since some people have trouble hitting that publish button?
Yeah. I mean, I know it's hard. Like, I know, so many small presses are really like, they're overworked and it takes a long time to hear back about a manuscript. I think for the writing process though, and really finishing up and tightening up the manuscript, I found it really helpful. Well, I mean, I mentioned like the writing retreat was amazing, but also I found it extremely helpful to like share work with friends and have, like try and make your own workshop group if you can, or even just like exchanging work with one friend and, going to a coffee shop and talking about your work together. It's really, really helpful, I think, to get other people's opinions. So it helps you to see it, like the bigger picture and also just from another perspective. Um, yeah, I think that's probably the biggest piece of advice that I have.
I like it. So collaboration and coffee. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's right. That's the true vitamin C that folks don't always mention when they talk about vitamin C. The power of collaboration and some good old coffee, good old cup of Joe. That's right, indeed. I guess in some cases, a good old cup of Joe, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of magical hills, are coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and that is if you're to wake up tomorrow and you were 25 again, but this time in the current year of 2021, with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
Oh man. Ugh. That's a good question. I guess. I don't know. I guess I would say to like maybe try not to worry about what other people think and just like get your work out there as much as possible.
Ah, there you go, right there. That's right. Get your work out there, indeed. And don't worry about what people say. That's right. Don't worry about it all, because they probably did nothing if they're complaining. That's right. We can call you Naysayer Blaster Nicole. She blasts the naysayers.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you deal with a lot of rejection, I guess, as a writer. Just gotta brush it off and keep sending.
There you go. Maybe play a little Mariah Carey, shake it off. That's right. Don't be a duck and have water flow off your back. Be a Mariah Carey. Just shake it off. And piss everybody off during the holiday season.
Oh man.
Ah, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. So, for those who want to keep in contact with the fabulous Nicole herself and buy some copies of your wonderful books, and that can probably even buy some copies of your audiobooks since it'll probably be up by the time this launches, where's the best way for folks to get in contact with you?
Yeah, well, I have a website which I just made recently. It's NicoleHaldoupis.ca, and you can get the book through either the Radiant Press website, or your local bookstore can order it in for you. It's also available through Indigo and Chapters and Amazon.
Ah, yeah, there you have it, folks. Head off to your favorite book site, bookstore, buy copies of the book. If they don't have it, ask for it. You're like, hey, I want some tiny ruins here. It's like, tiny ruins? You mean some ancient ruins? No, I want some Nicole Haldoupis in my life. Tiny ruins. Like, oh, okay. Yeah, perhaps some copies. Share with your friends. Share with your cat. Share with a penguin if you want. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, any closing inspirational thoughts for the folks still listening before we close up shop, Nicole?
Did you want me to read a story from Tiny Ruins?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
They're very small. Actually, there was one I was thinking about today because it was published originally in a magazine, a humor magazine called the Feathertail Review. Yeah, so I can read that one. It's very small. It's called Tough Pants. Mary, with the brown bowl cut and the squeaky voice, was their leader. She gathered everyone into a circle in the schoolyard by the far end of the track, near the dumpsters. The wind blew her hair in choppy sections as she stood high on the cement hill. "Okay, someone smells like poo," Mary announced. Another girl chimed in. "I smelled it too, way back there," and gestured to the grassy corner where they were playing a while ago. All the other little girls nodded in agreement, and a few uttered a "yeah" or "it does smell like poop." Alana stood in the circle and agreed with the other girls, her pants filled with poop from her accident earlier in the day. She didn't know how to deal with pooping in a toilet without help from her mom. No one seemed to notice that the smell was coming from her, and she was determined to keep it that way as long as possible, maybe even forever. "Okay, we're gonna do a vote," Mary decided. "So whoever didn't poop their pants, say aye at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Every single little girl in the group, including Alana, chimed in with an aye in unison, loud enough to make the older kids on the jungle gym look over to see what they were doing. None of the other little girls found out who pooped their pants that day. Alana went home in the afternoon and sobbed her way to the bathroom, where her mother helped her clean up.
Everybody knows that the best listeners listen to this part of the interview when it's all over. To solidify your status as a champion, be sure to subscribe to this podcast, leave a great 5-star review on iTunes, and share with someone that you care about and that would enjoy this content too. Keep being a fabulous, super special, awesome human for making it this far, and I hope you enjoy the next episode just as much.